Everybody, my name's Marilee Burnett. I am your astrologer, back with the messages for the week of February 26th of 2024. If you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe so that you get notifications every time I upload a new video, which I do daily with the tarot cards, where I do a short video, and then I do a weekly tarot reading for all signs, and then of course these weekly astro lessons as well. So I would love to have you join me and share my work with somebody that you think would appreciate it, and I truly appreciate you for taking the time out to listen to me this week. We are in between full moons and new moons. So we had early Saturday morning the full moon in Virgo, and now we are in between our full moon and new moon phase. But that doesn't mean things aren't happening this week. In fact, we have a lot of really interesting energy, especially in the sign of Pisces, going on this week. If you would like to start to get ready for eclipse season, which you will typically start sensing and feeling the energy about 6 weeks prior. Well, that's right now. So now is as good a time as any to book a session with me so that we can start looking in depth at both the full moon lunar eclipse that will happen in the sign of Libra, and then the incredibly intense new moon solar eclipse that happens in the sign of Aries and conjunct Chiron. So it's incredible. I have an article that will be posted shortly that you can look at all the details on that in as well. But it's a really good time to book a session with me. All right, so let's get into the facts of the week ahead and start to break it all down. So on the screen in front of you, of course, you can see a chart. That is what we will follow along on today's tutorial. On Monday, what you will see here is Jupiter still in its post shadow. It has to get to 15 degrees before it is clear of shadow, which means the degrees that this planet covered during its retrograde last year. At the time that we are looking at, you'll see Mars is also at 10 degrees, and from the sign of Aquarius, that means it is creating a square, also seen by this red line with a literal square inside. And you'll also notice that Venus has just completed her square of Jupiter, which happened on Sunday, but it's still there with a bit of an influence. Now, when Venus and Jupiter square one another, it can lead to some excess. It's not usually as negatively felt as this one with Mars may be. So Mars is our activities, it's the action that we take, it's our anger, it's our passion. Mars is a warrior, and Jupiter is a teacher, a spiritual teacher specifically. So there's something when you have a square that the two energies are having a difficult time getting along. So somebody has to move, somebody has to make a change, and that somebody is you. So look for there to be a bit of tension on Monday, and make sure that you follow where that tension is leading you. Don't try to stuff it down. Don't try to avoid it or ignore it, because that never works. And Mars is known for causing accidents, because we might try to rush through and avoid whatever we're trying to deal with. Now, throughout the day, you'll see the moon across the sky here in the sign of Libra, and it will be speaking in harmony with Mars. So I suggest that you pay close attention to your intuition and your feelings, your thought processes, because this is an air sign, and they will hopefully guide you on whatever it is that you need to do to make a change. All right, that is Monday. Now we're going to take a look at Tuesday. Tuesday, of course, is the 27th, and this is the beginning of what's going to be an interesting couple of days. We will have Mercury join with the Sun exactly We call this conjunction Kazemi, and it can be eye-opening, it can be mind-blowing, it can be a huge aha moment. For some, it can be a lot of stress and anxiety. So it's good to pay attention whenever Mercury meets up with the sun, which is several times throughout the year, how you respond. And maybe you respond differently in a water sign than you would in, say, a earth sign, which is more grounded. But a water sign is going to have you feeling very emotional. It can also have you feeling very creative. Your intuition again is heightened. And what Mercury does every time it meets up with the sun is basically gets cleansed and then starts moving forward again. What's interesting about this one is the closeness of Saturn. So you're going to see tomorrow when we look at this that these three are speaking exactly with one another. When we have three planets coming together in one sign, we call that a stellium, and a stellium accentuates the energy even more. Now, when you have an exact stellium and you have a Kazemi, there is some incredible intensity. There can be a lot of extra energy as far as water itself goes. We could have some kind of water event. But what Saturn helps with in all of this water is to create a good boundary, to create structure around water, give structure to your feelings and your emotions and your intuition. It's been doing this already for over a year, and Saturn spends about 2.5 years in each sign. So there's something really important that you want to be paying attention to. And it's a great day to journal when you get those aha moments that seem to pop into your mind out of nowhere. We also have Neptune in the sign as well. So there's a lot of water energy. And if you are uncomfortable with your feelings or emotions, Tuesday, Wednesday might be a little bit uncomfortable. So the opposite of water is earth. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, get your feet outside in the earth and connect to it. Do some gardening, buy a plant, do a hike, get yourself grounded if you feel uncomfortable with the emotions that are showing up for you. Now, mentor could be somebody that comes into your life as a result of the Saturn energy. The sun is our success, Mercury is our communication. So there's all kinds of possibilities. And of course, this really depends on where this is happening in your natal chart. So take a look at that and get curious about what is going to show up. The other energy that's of interest today, again, talking about the moon in the sign of Libra as it gets close to the south node and, of course, opposes the north and opposes Chiron. This energy of the north node in Chiron is going to play a big role, as I mentioned earlier, in that eclipse on April 8th. So this can give you a little bit of a preview. The moon with the south node shows you what types of emotional pain, hurt feelings, relationships that hurt you, that you need to let go of in order to feel more strong and independent and healed. So there is something about that, and then something odd because of the fact that the moon also makes what we call an inconjunct back to Jupiter. So very, very interesting. And then still the moon is going to be in positive harmony with that energy of Venus and Mars in Aquarius. Yesterday it spoke briefly also with Pluto. So you're on a bit of an emotional roller coaster this week, but it's one that is meant to really help you refine your feelings and your emotions and use them to empower you versus being stuck and drowning in them. All right. Now, let's move on to Wednesday. On Wednesday, what we will see here is Venus starting to make some space between her lover Mars in the sign of Aquarius. And today speaks in harmony with the nodes. So that can bring fated events. And Venus, of course, rules love and money. It can rule beautiful things. It can rule art. In the sign of Aquarius, it might have you looking at maybe a hybrid vehicle, right? Something that is a possession that has some kind of electronical component to it. But fate, obviously, is going to guide you on whatever this journey will be about for you. It's brief, but know that where Venus is heading, Mars will soon follow. So there may be another look at whatever this is from a different perspective once Mars is in positive contact with both of these nodes as well. Of course, if you're looking for love, Aquarius is the internet, and this just might be a time where you miraculously meet somebody. Now, the other energy that I told you, here we have it. Here's the sun, here's Mercury, here's Saturn, and they're all meeting at 9 degrees. Now, the number 9 in numerology brings endings. It brings closure. And Pisces is also the last sign of the zodiac. It is the 12th house. All of this energy together could bring something to the surface so that you see it, so that the big ending can happen. It's going to be an interesting day on Wednesday for sure. So stay tuned for what is going to be showing up for us. Now, there could be information about a big important leader that is brought to the surface, something more about an illness, perchance, because of Pisces and its connection to medicine. The 12th house is connected to hospitals, which is the view that I have up for you here. So we have some interesting things to look at this week. It is intense, but I don't think it's necessarily uncomfortable. And it's showing us things that we need to see. We still have Jupiter squaring off with Mars as well. So it's highlighting still that we need to make some changes. And today, whatever those changes are, might become extremely evident for us. All right, let's move us forward to Thursday. So on Thursday, we get a bit of good news, hopefully, after all that's been going on, because we have Mercury that is now moving slightly away from the sun. And as it does, it is speaking in harmony with Jupiter. So Jupiter tends to bring us blessings as long as we are serving the greater good and learning and growing and expanding and trying to find our purpose. So you could literally come across some information that really helps you understand why you're here and what you're supposed to be doing. And it just might become even clearer if you're looking for answers. Thursday is the day that those answers just might show up for you. The other thing we'll see is the moon will move into the sign of Scorpio. Now, the moon isn't at its greatest strength here, but it does help us tune in to things that are dark, mysterious, and hidden. And it is a very intense, there can be some kind of feeling of crisis, but we can pay attention to it and resolve it. And we'll need to, because as the moon moves forward throughout the day, it is going to stand across the sky from Jupiter and create a bit of tension. Now, it's not, again, an extremely uncomfortable tension, but it's noticeable, and you will want to do something about it. All right, let's take a look at Friday. Now, on Friday, what you will see is we have Venus in a bit of a T-square, still speaking in harmony with the nodes, and speaking in harmony with Chiron. So love is a hot topic. Money is a hot topic. Connecting with others in a way that's purposeful. We have all kinds of things going on Friday with these connections. Now, the nice thing about Venus with Chiron is it could be a relationship with a woman that helps you heal. It could be women groups in general that are a hot topic. I know here we are having big discussions about women's issues. So there could be some movement as a result of some of those discussions on Friday that's more positive. Now, when you have this T-square, and it'll be brief, which is this red triangle, you have Venus squaring with the moon, which isn't necessarily a difficult square, but again, it creates tension. But the one that is a little crazy and you just don't know how it's going to go is with the planet Uranus, which is a lightning bolt. It's electricity. It's unexpected twists and turns. But the way out is love, right? Venus is love, and that's at the point of all the pressure. So these hurt feelings that you have, this unexpected financial stress, for instance, that the way through it is with a loving friend, for instance. So just know that you're not alone in whatever the difficulty is on Friday. Mercury will be making an in conjunct connection to the South Node. So you could hear from somebody in an unexpected way as Mercury moves through the sky on Friday and makes that contact. Now, as we move into Saturday, you're going to see that the contact is exact because of the fact that this green line is created. South Node is relationships in our past. Mercury is communication, maybe with somebody from your past, or it could be, without being involved in relationships, an idea, a creative idea, a musical product or something like that that you're working on, spiritual work, and somebody from your past may show up out of the blue to help you with it. So that should be some interesting energy on Saturday, but it can lead to strange information. It can be weird things that are highlighted on the internet. It could be somebody who's in a religious type of role that is exposed for a strange relationship or not one they should have had. I don't know, but it's going to be a little weird and wacky on Saturday because of the connection between Mercury and the South Node. You will also see that Venus and Mars are still somewhat close together, but making more and more distance. Venus is finally getting past the nodes, and we're seeing some space being created here between, of course, Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn. Let's finish up the week and take a look at Sunday, where you see a little bit more tension again in the sky. That Venus and Uranus square continues, and in fact it's more exact on Sunday. So the moon's moved on, but now Venus and Uranus can create a lot of chaos and change, unexpected changes. And what's always interesting is when you have the planets squaring, that's the ruler. So Venus is the ruler of the sign of Taurus. Then that gives a little bit more oomph to that Venus energy. So we're going to see something, maybe definitely a financial conflict of some sort that comes up, and it might surprise you how you want to react. But just know that you could overreact. So be watchful about your energy so that you don't end up doing something that you would end up regretting. Now we do have another energy that creates tension, and that's the quarter moon. So we have the first quarter moon, we have the full moon, we have the second quarter moon, or I guess it's the third, and then we have the new moon. So this is the first opportunity that the moon squares with the sun since the full moon in Virgo. So the light is draining from the moon, and this is your opportunity to look at those Virgo goals, those intentions that you set, and see if you're on track or if you need to make some kind of an adjustment. Now the moon's in Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules foreign people, foreign countries, foreign travel. So maybe there's something about that has a more heightened tension on this day that we need to be paying attention to. Could be some unexpected breakups because of that Venus-Uranus energy and those conflicts there as well. And while it won't become exact while we are viewing this today, that Mars energy where it is going to be squaring off with the nodes will be what kicks us off next week, but we're definitely within influential energy. So it could even be over this weekend where, again, we see what war, what violence, what aggression has to do with karma. And even though the contact with the nodes is positive, when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, this is when you get a radical life adjustment. The nodes teach us lessons, and how those lessons come across is very much dependent on if we're following along and doing what we're supposed to be doing or not. All right, so a pretty straightforward week. Not a whole lot of crazy, but there is definitely a whole lot of Pisces energy going on this week and a lot of nodal work going on. And that is just because we are now within the energy of eclipse season. So the things that are starting to shake up for you, sudden twists and turns, unexpected changes, it's all a part of this eclipse energy. So again, if you are considering doing a reading, be sure and book with me now, because it is really going to be helpful to look closely at the impacts that the eclipse will have on any of your natal planets, and then know to be fully prepared if one of your natal planets, especially the big three, your sun, your moon, your rising sign, is directly impacted by the eclipse. You're going to want to know, because it'll be that time in your life where you go, I remember in 2024. And the last time you would be remembering a big change, if this does impact you directly, would have been 2005. So April of 2005, we also had this energy. But what's different and unique is we also have Mercury retrograde. So if you get a chance, go read my March article where I talk about all the movement and the importance that Mercury will play in this upcoming eclipse in the sign of Aries. All right. Thanks for tuning in. If you have ideas, you want other information shared on my Astrolessons, give me a recommendation. I always take them to heart. I hope you have a great week. Keep me posted. Give me some comments below, and we'll talk again next week.